Hello, welcome to our first podcast for wealth transparency. What we do is we take subject matters from the week and try to explain what an investor should do as a result of those headlines. I'm Ed Butowsky, I'm the moderator. We have Michelle Connell, who is with Porsche Investments down in Fort Worth, Texas. We have Lex Nickpour with Ethos Financial Group, Bill Lane with Ethos Financial Group, and Andrew Tang with Turner Investments. So guys, thank you very, very much for joining us. What we're going to do is a roundtable discussion, and the goal of this is to give the viewer the opportunity to really hear from people who are on the front lines and what they're telling their clients to do. So let's start off, Andrew, with how the Arctic freeze impact the GDP numbers and what should you do? How is this Arctic freeze that has really engrossed the entire country going to impact GDP numbers, and what should you do as a result of it, if anything?
Yeah, it's a very interesting question because if we look at the most recent storm that has impacted the U.S., it's been quite dramatic. So studies have shown, historically speaking, especially the ones that were conducted by Bank of America and Morgan Stanley, they have estimated that the storm typically will have a drag on U.S. GDP somewhere around 0.5% to 1.5%. And that translates to somewhere around 105 billion to 115 billion. That's just in the range. But the disruption from the storms, for example, there are power outages, there are transportation delays, there are supply chain delays, and also there's reduced consumer activities. People are not going out anymore. They're spending all their time trying to stay warm, trying to clean their driveways. Now, on the flip side of that, you get the box makers, for example, the grocery stores. People are panic buying. The Home Depots, and Lowe's, they're definitely selling a lot more snow blowers now. So you do have some winners and losers, and especially in the cold, I would say natural gas really very, very volatile and a very elastic instrument. Commodities here, they turn out to be the winners. Materials, for example, are winners. And then box stores and hardware stores like Costco and Home Depot, they are winners. And then who is going to be losers, right? I would say airline companies, for example, the JETS, the ETF that represents the airline industry, and the transportation ETF especially, like the trucking companies, all that, they are suffering some losses and delays. And then lastly is, the insurers. The insurance company, there is an ETF that goes by the IAK. They will be losers as well. So you're going to get a mixed bag of winners and losers. And, this is what I see from what's going on. And it can get worse, and then it also can improve from here.
So Bill, from the GDP numbers, what do you see happening to GDP numbers as a result of the Arctic freeze? Andrew just said that Bank of America said there'll be about a 0.5 point drag. Do you think that's too much?
I think that's probably a little bit too much. I think we'll get through this a little more quickly than it feels like right now as I sit here at 22 degrees going to 19 degrees tomorrow. And I do think he makes an excellent point about some of the durable goods orders that will make up for some of the service slippage in that GDP number when it finally comes out. You can look at stocks like Generac and see up 25% year to date. That's a stock that's seen a slippage in sales year over year, but one that always reacts well to these type of events because everyone runs out and buys a generator as soon as they possibly can after living through these types of events. So as long as consumer spending is still available to support these durable goods needs that arise out of this type of weather event, I see it being only a modest change to some of the service, hospitality, and travel components. And even then, we're talking about 10 to 15 days of disruption across the entire quarter.